Hello everyone, and welcome back to Stellar Blade with Chaos Counseling. Yes, I didn't end up streaming this morning because I slept in because I really needed sleep. So, but yeah, done with everything I needed to do this morning. Abby is out at rehearsal for a Harry Potter musical, so I've got some time to myself after... Oh, excuse me. Hey, Fig. I'm in that part of the world, yes. And also, hi, Val. Fuck. What was I saying? But yeah, finished my, edgelord photo shoot. As well as, hanging out with friends, playing some games afterwards. So I figured, you know what? Why not? I really want to play Stellar Blade some more, because once again, this game is just really fun. And yeah, here we are. I'm really looking forward to being able to share those pictures with everybody, because, man, my friends got really creative with their versions of edgelord. In fact, one of my good friends who, okay, see you in a second. Actually, she is involved in another project I'm working on that I also can't wait for everyone to see. Oh, dear. Fair enough. Is it intentionally that Eve's hair is thin and frail, look like doll's hair? I think it's supposed to be, yes. Granted, that could also just be, animation troubles, if you know what I mean. Oh, they kept the... Okay. But yeah, I think it is supposed to be that... Okay, there's a robot right there. I'm pretty sure I've got to go around and come back, but it's bugging me. Anyway, but yeah. She... hilariously, for her edgelord costume, she took a screenshot from my edgelord, or my Tomodachi live stream, got a picture of the Tomodachi edgelord's face, and then made a mask of that to wear to the photo shoot. And it was funny. Her hair is animated oddly. It's been bothering me since I saw it, given what I know. I believe it's supposed to be doll-like. Yeah, no, I agree. I do think the hair physics are not great because it does clip through her body a lot. But yeah, no, I do very much think that the doll-like aspect of it is 100% deliberate. Also, again, I do sort of don't 100% love the way that the lore is drip-fed to us throughout this game. I say that because other games that kind of throw you into the deep end without much of an explanation have pissed me off in the past. I'm looking at you, Final Fantasy 13. But Final Fantasy 13 also was just a shitty game on top of that. Whereas this game is really fun. Let's see, given that people... They call humans have skin flaws and markings, but even the others are like their model. I think it's to be intentional. Yeah, no, I can definitely agree with that. Thought, okay, that just brought me back here. All right, whatever. Shit, what was I saying? But this game drops you in and leaves you with a fuck ton of questions. But once again, like I was saying, I'm okay with it because this game is just fun to play. So I can get over that. Because, yeah, Final Fantasy 13 was not fun to play. And any arguments that my college roommates tried to make in the game's favor were really just boiled down, well, I like it. I'm like, that's not a... I mean, it's perfectly fine if you like a game, even if it's objectively bad. I love plenty of games that are objectively bad. But stop trying to convince me it's actually legit good. If the game is fun, you are more than willing to go along with exploring the questions. Agreed. And yeah, that just was the big thing, is I just personally, I cannot stand Final Fantasy 13. It's like, I genuinely gave that game more of a shake than, quite frankly, it deserved. Did something similar to Star Ocean: The Last Hope, despite the fact that I did not like either of those games. Partially because I was a broke college student, and I was being loaned both those games from roommates, so... But I kind of realized, I'm like, sure, these are new games I don't own, so I could play them, or I could just play through Dragon Age 1 and 2 again, which I actually like playing, so... Yeah, I decided, you know what, I'm not going to torture myself with these two games. I'm just going to play games that I like. And, well, I'm not 100% opposed to torturing myself on stream for entertainment. It needs to not literally be torturous, if you know what I mean. Because, like, sure, I could...
Let's store the code.
How do I put this? I'm going to play... I'm going to play Trees Hate You 100% once that game gets a full release. And I know that game is going to piss me off so bad. But that's because I'm actually looking forward to being pissed off with that game. Mostly because I'm playing as Edgelord. Elden's coming to Switch 2, and I'll definitely try, and from what I understand, Souls game will be, like, a reliable friend. Yeah, that's what I heard. Like, Jessie has actually stated that she really likes Elden Ring, and she doesn't really like Souls games a ton. So, I do actually have Elden Ring on my list of games to play as Edgelord. I honestly do really want to give that one a fair shake, again, as Edgelord. Just because, I don't know, that one just feels very Edgelord to me. But yeah, I think Trees Hate You. It's like the fun comes from the fact that the game, well, the trees hate you. That's the joke. My friend told me that it's the easiest of the Souls games with better learning curves to pick up. That's what I heard too. Again, to quote what... Okay, so I'm quoting Abby, who's quoting Jessie. She said that Elden Ring is one of those games that it's hard, and you have to get good at it, but anytime you fail, it feels like, yeah, it was still my fault, and I can get better at it, you know? So that's why I do really want to give Code Vein another shake, especially with Edgelord, given that it was made by the same people who made God Eater, which is another series I do have a soft spot for, even though I don't think God Eater is objectively that good. But it's also a Souls-like game. But, like, one game that I am not willing to torture myself with is... Let's say I played Cuphead without getting titles. I think I can manage. Hell yeah. even though I'm not the biggest fan of platformers, especially balls hard ones, I don't know. I like the art style of Cuphead, so I've been kind of wanting to at least try it once, you know, just so I can say I've played it, even though I am positive I will not actually have the best time with it, and that's just because of me. By the way, speaking of platformers, I'm still amazed at just how good. Yes, actually, Abby streamed another Crab's Treasure, because she was gifted it by one of our good friends. Albeit, she basically just cheated her way through it with the gun. Well, okay, it's not cheat. If it's built in the game, it's not cheating. But she couldn't just. But she really just couldn't stomach the Souls-like element. So she's like, "Fuck it, I want to beat it for the sake of beating it," because she, like me, doesn't like not finishing games for the channel, you know, because she does still feel bad that she didn't finish Kingdom Hearts, or I don't remember the other game she didn't finish, but yeah, she did want to finish it, and because there was a built-in you can just use the gun to like insta-kill everything, she's like, okay, I'll beat it for the sake of beating the story, you know.
That was tougher than expected. Are you all right?
Because like I know. Wait, is that? Is that thing No, it's just flipping and flopping. Because, like, again, I know Abby's thing is she can get a little overwhelmed with chat, which is one of the reasons she doesn't stream a ton anymore. And again, I'm not calling anyone specifically out, or I'm not saying anyone has done anything wrong, but I think because there is a bit of a disconnect between the player, or, you know, what people write and their tone can be misunderstood. She just was getting overwhelmed, and
Shall we go?
in weird ways it kind of felt like people were maybe being a little nasty about her choices of games or her opinions, if you know what I mean. Some other card shows more true to Souls games than because Souls games give you many ways to take advantage and be cheap. Well, it's unfair, so why do you have to play fair? I agree. And I think that's especially true because I don't know how much, like, the philosophy, like, because I know, like, visually the Dark Souls franchise does take inspiration from Berserk, but let's be real, what doesn't take inspiration from Berserk in modern fantasy? It was just such an overwhelmingly influential manga, you know? But that is kind of the thing with that one. It's like, yeah, sure, Guts is just that powerful, but he's able to kill monsters because he doesn't play fair. He plays to survive. So I very much feel that is kind of in keeping with the spirit of Berserk. Now, again, I've got very mixed feelings about Berserk. And it's not... I read a lot of it before the author died, but I'm not necessarily proud of the fact that I did, if I'm being honest. I don't know. It's hard, especially with the fact the author's dead now, so he's not, you know, if we kind of view that what he was writing is actively hurting people, he's not profiting from it anymore. But I also I don't know. I heard some people accuse the author of Berserk of being a PDF file. I don't know if that's true or not, but I don't know. I have just such mixed feelings about Berserk, because I definitely understand why it's so influential, and there's definitely good stuff in there. But for me, ironically enough, and I know this is a weird thing to say, Berserk became just it went too far for me, ironically enough, after the Eclipse, which, again, you could say, but that was the point of the narrative, is that after the Eclipse, the world changed for the worse forever. And I'm like, yeah, but there's ways of doing that without showing all the SA monsters and other bullshit, you know? Because, how do I put this? I want to be clear, I am not a woman. Like, I don't identify as a woman. I was not born a woman. I have not dealt with the harassment that women deal with on a daily basis. But to kind of quote YouTuber Linkara, and Linkara is also not a woman, so bear in mind that this is a dude quoting another dude about something that has mostly nothing to do with us. But Linkara once said that one of the biggest problems that he had with SA of any kind in media is that it's often just shown as, well, that's something terrible that happens to women, rather than approaching it from a respectful and tactful approach, as it should be, because it's like, this is something truly terrible and life-changing, but so often when it's included in media, it's just kind of glossed over as like a bullet point or something that's like, oh, well, we're going to focus on how the man feels about how a woman was, you know, SA'd. So it bugs me. It feels gratuitous. Your main focus on the world would be horrible as a ton of SA and graphically so, regardless of gender. Assault is still disgusting and sadly a very, very popular fetish. It is. And that's my whole thing, is that I feel like Berserk, after, you know, leading up to the eclipse and after the eclipse, just started including SA not as a way to build character or talk about taboo subjects. It was just there to make characters instantly hateable, if you know what I mean. Because, like, again, I'm criticizing Berserk, but I do actually want to give Berserk some props for how it handled both Guts and Griffith's SA. Like, that was something I do actually kind of appreciate, is the fact that Guts, you know, is a male character who did suffer from SA, and the manga doesn't shy away with it, and he does have to deal with it, and it's done well. And I also like that Griffith also was SA'd, and it kind of showed how it made him worse. Again, this is good stuff, but it's for the men. When Casca gets SA'd to the point where she basically becomes a vegetable for 20 years of real time before she ever gets cured, like, it's not about how her life was ruined. It's not about how she copes with it. It's about kind of how Guts' life permanently changed after his, you know, the one woman he loved lost her mind. And I'm like, that's I'm not okay with that. You took a great character like Casca and you did that to her. I'm like, no, not cool. Not cool. Because once again, it's not actually being done to properly look at how these terrible things permanently change someone's life or changes the victim's life. It's just, oh, well, this is a great plot point for her boyfriend. I'm like, not cool. Because, like, again, you can tell stories and you can have worlds that are dark and disgusting. Let's see, I always drop anything that makes it graphic. It has to act complete with nothing to stop. Because I was blah, 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 blah. No. Here's the thing. I have not read all of the Song and Ice and Fire books. I read up to a certain point and then I just was done. But one thing I gave George R. R. Martin some credit for is that, yes, SA is something that exists in that world, but it's never like his focus. Whenever someone is, it's not like it's ignored per se, but it's talked about off screen, or it's talked about after the fact. So it doesn't feel like they're gratuitously lingering on this terrible event for, you know, assholes to get their jollies off, you know? It's like, yes, it happens. Yeah, it makes the world dark and gritty, but you don't need to know the details. Now, like I say, I have not read all of the Song of Ice and Fire books that are out because I've lost interest, so maybe it gets worse later on. But at least, at first, it was kept, you know, not something that was focused on. But like you said, whenever it gets fetishized or like it goes into too much detail, I'm like, we do not need to know the detail. Like, the only time we ever really need to know the details of what's happening in the moment is, once again, if you are analyzing the psychology of what it does to the person. And even then, you can always go be very metaphorical about how that happens. So it's relatable to fellow survivors, but is not exploitive of that type of trauma and that type of horror, if you know what I mean. I don't know. Once again, I am not a woman in any sense of the word. Don't identify as one, was not born one, etc., etc., etc. So I will, if, you know, if there's any cis women or women that have been born, or any, you know, non-binary or trans people that were born female, I defer to you. I mean, even like trans women as well, because they do have to deal with their own fair share of misogyny, and but I digress. Let's see. I have some tolerance for the details when it's a real point, like in Skeleton Knight, when it's brutally and punished by the victims, have dignity, respect, and important fight back. Yeah, preach. I can respect that for sure. But again, like another example Linkara talked about in his show was in the when he reviewed the comic Identity Crisis. In Identity Crisis, the DC Comics retconned that the supervillain Dr. Light essayed Sue Dibney. However, in the same comic that they retconned this into Sue Dibney's backstory, she died. So now it's like, okay, Sue Dibney now has to deal, you know, now has this horrible thing as part of her backstory, but because she's literally dead, it's completely tasteless and it's not going to be properly explored about her as a person. It was just there to indicate, oh, something terrible happened to Sue Dibney in the past. And because of that terrible thing, that's why the other superheroes think it's that one supervillain who murdered her, even though it isn't even that supervillain who killed her. And it's gratuitous, because her being essayed bears no bearing on her as a character. All it does is be like how other characters are like, oh, it was so horrible when we found our friend who had been blah, blah, blah. I'm like, fuck off. Just fuck off. I have been going to some really dark places these last 2 days. I don't know why. Let's talk about something a little more fun. I don't know. I admit maybe the reason we've been going to dark places is, admittedly, I am playing a game that does objectify women to an extent. So it's like, I don't know, maybe I get self-conscious. It's better just to have that info in the background as a way to show why a character's like that. Exactly. I mean, so for one of the projects I'm working on, we're doing another D&D campaign for the YouTube channel. And I made it very clear to everyone at the start, I'm like, I will not allow essay to happen in-game. But if you want your character to have, like, essay in their backstory, A, it's one of those things that everyone needs to kind of give the okay, and B, we need to actually give it respect, if you know what I mean. And we're never going to sit down and hash out the gory details either. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, I just had some leftover lamb tiki masala before streaming with a Coke. So it's kind of doing the sword dance in my gut. So I might be a little burpy for a little bit, and I do apologize about that. But yeah, so this morning, so I turned, when did I get the pattern for this? Whatever, let's craft it. So I turned 35 this week. I don't know if I want to, I don't know if I want to equip that. I think it looks weird. I turned 35 this week, so as a way to kind of celebrate, I decided to do another edgelord photo shoot, like I mentioned. And yeah, that was a lot of fun, because I always love, you know, being like, okay, guys, we're going to do some edgelord photo shoot. Here's, like, the bare minimum you have to do. Thanks, Slimed Green. It's like, here's the bare minimum you have to do for it to be counted as another version of edgelord. But go nuts. I want you guys to basically do whatever you want, because I honestly think that's just more fun. I just think it's a way more fun to just be like, okay, what's your idea? Let me hear it. I want to see it. And yeah, it is a lot of fun. Oh, okay. Because, like, the things that a lot of my friends came up with today, super fun. Because we got things like a cowboy edgelord, or... Honestly, the best way I could describe it is her costume kind of reminded me of, like, Over the Garden Wall characters.
How far are you
Oh.
from the Alpha Core?
Hey, don't push me while I'm operating.
One person was a pirate.
Are you sure this is the right way?
I mean, hell, last year when we did one of these photo shoots, Abby dressed up as, like, a cat-made edgelord, which was a lot of fun.
All right, stop it, both of you. Let's go.
Cillium said, like, the periodical... I actually don't know. That's a good question.
That's the train graveyard.
Oh, jeez. So,
Another tremor.
one thing... So, we ended up playing a game after the photo shoot called I Dark Overlord. And, oh man, if you've never played that game, it's a riot. The basic premise of the game is that everyone plays as, like, a henchman of an overlord. And the overlord just wants to know why his their henchmen keep screwing up. And I don't even remember how we got on the topic, but one of our players basically, I asked them a question, and then one of the other players interrupted. It's like, wait, you need to tell us about the tentacles. Let's see, I never try to be real topics, just got derailed by my own brain. You are good. Yeah, no, I've put decent amount of thought into edgelord, partially because, again, I do want to try to, you know, make the something out of the edgelord comic. Which, again, I'm going to actually be rebooting the comic, mostly just because I kind of realized I was relying a little too much on that Everfeld town that was a royalty-free version of a LARP park that I would go to as edgelord. But after kind of having a talk with some friends who also used to go there, I'm like, no, I need to start the comic over, change the name, drop the Everfell, because I was just too... I mean, hell, even the other characters who weren't like edgelord and co were characters from that park. And I'm like, I'm not letting myself, for lack of a better word, heal or grieve by like constantly trying to like recreate that park even in comic form. I wasn't letting myself get over the fact that the loss of that park was kind of devastating for me, because I met almost all of my friends through that park. That park is where I really got to be edgelord legitimately in a lot of ways. So that's really what let my... Anyway, that's beside the point. That's beside the point. But, yeah. Edgelord and I even kind of would love it if edgelord would continue to take on a life of their own outside of just the channel, in a sense. Because I even kind of told some of my friends in the photo shoot, it's like, edgelord at their fundamental core is an individual who... Oh. I don't actually know how this works. Oh. Is someone at their fundamental core... Kind of remix in your own way. Exactly. Shit. Is someone at their fundamental core someone who is constantly shit on by life, but still keeps pulling through, if you know what I mean? So, yeah, their backstory sucks. Their life might suck, but they're basically meant to be a beacon of positivity in their own esoteric, whiny sort of way, you know? See, that's actually something I kind of am sad about, is a former viewer of the channel actually made their own, like, edgelord OC, albeit I really don't think they understood exactly who edgelord was and how they worked. But honestly, I think it was really sweet, and I'm like, that was definitely a good... It's like, I definitely thought it was pretty cool. Again, I kind of feel that they missed the point of edgelord. The edgelord is fun and crazy, and that's the point. It's madness here. Exactly. But yeah, it is just such a shame that particular viewer kind of turned out to be just such a toxic member of the channel, and is one of the few people we have had to ban from the channel because they were being such a problem viewer. And I am grateful to say that I think we've only banned a total of 3 people from the channel in the however many years we've been doing this shit. I don't remember how long KS counseling's been a proper thing. Over 10 years, I know that much. But it's not something I like doing. Like, even if someone's kind of causing some issues, I'm, as a whole, disinclined to, like, ban them from the channel. Because it's like, they're largely, as a whole, just voicing their opinions. Even if... See, I know it's sad, but you should ban people causing issues, even if it's a small channel, because you're probably there. You know, also very true, and that was, like, a big issue, one of the big issues we were having with this person, and again, admittedly, tone is completely non-existent in text form, so possibly reading too much into it, but they would always be just really rude and aggressive, like passive-aggressive, not outright aggressive-aggressive to other people in the chat. And it's like, no, we can't have that. Especially when they were being, like, really aggressive and rude to our viewers whose, like, English might not be their first language. So they might need to ask a clarifying, like, because that was an issue we had with this particular person, is that one of our other viewers, who is from, I want to say they were from Japan. So they were asking clarifying questions about slang and whatnot. And this person was being rude to them, being like, duh, that's what they meant. They're tilting the near, in fact, what happened, especially with chat, then yeah, you need to go. Yep. Because it's like, at the end of the day, we're just here to vibe. We're just here to have fun. We're just here to, yeah. And it's like, if you're not vibing with the channel, then I hate to say it, then maybe the channel's not for you. Maybe I'm not the streamer for you. That's okay. It's like, there's plenty of people under the sun that you could watch instead of me. I'm always grateful when people choose to give me their time and their attention and listen to me rant about stuff that I probably don't really know that much about. But much in the same way, sometimes, like, a tabletop game is just not a good match for you. And maybe it's like, yeah, I want to play tabletop, but for everyone's enjoyment, maybe I should just step away. That can be true with YouTube. And YouTube channels. It's like, prime example, take someone like the Nostalgia Critic. I definitely think they're capable of making some really funny stuff, but their biases in recent years were really starting to piss me off. I mean, honestly, they were pissing me off a bit back in the day as well, but I'm more just referring to, like, what finally really kind of got me to drop them as a channel, is they were giving leeway to, again, stuff they were nostalgic for, but constantly taking the piss out of other stuff that they didn't grow up with or they didn't like growing up with. Even though it's like, dude, if you're going to be a... I know that he views himself as more of a comedian than a critic, but he's got critic in the goddamn name, his goddamn name, so I'm going to be a little harsher. Let's see. Get that? I know I can be a brat, but just know I draw the line. Agreed. I love all kinds of streamers and content creators, but you and Madman Fender are the only people I enjoy watching live. You need to talk. I appreciate that. Yeah, because speaking of live chat, Little Karibo, she has been streaming. She's been watching her different Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged episodes on stream, and then kind of going through the commentary, and or not going and just giving commentary about, oh, this is what she was thinking at the time, like this is what that joke was about. It being like, oh, I don't actually remember why I did this. You know, it's very fun. However, because, you know, she's going out of her way to, like, answer and engage with everyone in the super chats, sometimes, even though she streams for, like, 3 hours, she usually gets, like, 3 to 4 episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged in per stream. And I've never watched it live. I've always just kind of watched it in, you know, playback, because it's like, I want to hear her commentary. But unfortunately, the last couple streams, I've had to just kind of skip through the stream as a whole and kind of skip her talking about everything else and engaging with the super chats and just watching her actual commentary on her episodes. Because of just how bratty and toxic a lot of the people in the chat are getting towards poor little Karibo. And them just being aggressive. It's like, stop answering the super chats and just watch the episodes already. I'm like, bitch. What's interesting, it's more interesting to hear little Karibo talk about her life and experience over the last 20 years making the show. Plus, again, as little Karibo keeps saying, if people are willing to donate money to little Karibo, she's like, I'm going to, at the very least, acknowledge their, you know, their chats. Which I'm like, I think that's very respectable. And I really hate just how antagonistic a lot of people in her community... Let's see, wait, I can watch Blake Jennings, but it's because he doesn't spend tons of time thinking chats and keep playing. It's in the yapping. Fair enough. I know there was like, I think not Matt Pat, what am I talking about? Jax Films, you know, has been talking about like people who are like faking live streaming on like Roblox and be like, oh, hey, make sure you do X, Y, and Z to win some Roblox cash or whatever. But it's, but it's actually just a pre-recorded video. So it cuts away right before they announce the winner. Honestly, it's just kind of disgusting how there's nothing sacred in entertainment. Everything, there's going to be someone who is able to fleece money from the people who are actually trying to make something genuine, you know? Pardon me, I am going to take a sip of water. But I also remember watching a video, I don't remember which YouTuber it was, but it talked about a YouTuber who... like,
And the camp up ahead. Let's stop. I want to take off my headset.
But there was a YouTuber or Twitch streamer or whatever. All he would do was, I think, play Fortnite, and then just like repeat over and over, like, hey, make sure you like, comment, and make sure you subscribe, or do whatever the engagement is on Twitch. But he did like little and would say like, there's a chance of winning something. It's gonna be someone trying to game the system. It's true. I have no idea why anyone makes Roblox content, considering the company could decide to drop a hat to ban you and your name. Yeah? No, I agree with you completely on that one, Val. I know that I've had some people suggest, oh, Roblox or Fortnite with Edgelord. I'm like, yeah, I know there's like a lot you can do with things like that, but I'm like, I don't want to chance it. Plus, especially with Fortnite, I've got issues with games that are just about online competitive, you know, multiplayer, because I don't get a lot of joy out of games like that anymore, for one. And two, because I know why I did kind of like an experiment with Splatoon with Edgelord. However, there is a reason why I have not returned to Splatoon yet, because quite frankly, I just don't think it was an experiment that worked. Oh, hello, Demon Vagina. Because, I'm sorry, just an angle that seriously looked like... I mean, it doesn't really look like it now that I can clearly see it. It was just that one specific angle, it really kind of looked like a demon vagina. Oh crap, wrong button. Or not wrong button, but wrong direction. Well, with Splatoon, at least it has a meaty single player. Not competitive, so I don't really play online competitive games. I just watch the fun people and take seriously. That's true. Honestly, I have been meaning to, at the very least, get back to, like, Splatoon story modes. But I also admit, I just can't fully care at the same time. I don't know. I don't know. I just have got mixed feelings about that series. Or, I should say mixed feelings about returning to that series. I don't know. Because, like, I know that one of the problem people who kept trying to shove Monster Hunter down my throat, and even, like, my friend who I did, like, a creative retreat with earlier this month to kind of help us both out of our creative funk, kind of said it's, like, a good way to build the channel is, audience engagement. Doesn't have that, like, DLC people like. I couldn't comment on that. I don't know. And that's why it was like, hey, Monster Hunter's a game that you can play online multiplayer with people. That would be a good way to build an audience for Edgelord. And I'm like, I don't disagree, but at the same time, that's also not necessarily something I outright want to do, because, I don't know, I do like being... I don't know how to describe it, but I'm always just concerned that if I do like a full on, you know, multiplayer thing, then potentially things could get out of hand and out of control. Because I do kind of feel like I did not enjoy the Pokemon Scarlet series by the end, because I let things get a little too out of control by giving a little too much power to certain people who were tuning into that series regularly, you know? That being said, I'm still considering doing Final Fantasy XIV, Phantasy Star Online 2, or Elder Scrolls Online as Edgelord. Just to experiment with a proper MMO with Edgelord, you know? I just haven't fully committed to it because MMOs are a big commitment, you know? New skills, unlock burst skills! I understand people you don't know or... Unpredictable, exactly. Woo! But at the same time, I do my... Oh, it would be nice to be able to play some games with you guys, you know? I really do think there's an idea there. I wouldn't go online multiplayer unless you can turn the mic off. Agreed. Some people know you're streaming. The slurs hit like a nuclear bomb. Oh, yeah, no. Agreed. Because, Jesus Christ. I remember when I did used to play both Mass Effect 3 multiplayer and Halo multiplayer back in the day. The chat was... Ooh, it was bad juju. Bad mojo all around. Excuse me. You know, I didn't actually end up wearing this one a ton last time. Let's take that one more for a spin. Yeah, we're gonna stick with the one that's like holding her ears just because... Oh! Ooh, Ooh, I like that. We're giving you that. But no, I agree. People are assholes
Train on
online.
the left. This doesn't look easy either.
Let's go up and take a look.
Yeah, I know I probably need to go up that ladder, but loot and stuff, I want to make sure I don't miss anything. But yeah. But yeah, unfortunately, that feeling of like I did lose control of the stream and the plot and everything like that is part of the reason why let's see, I remember the insane thing I heard was shit during Call of Duty. Oh boy. That's horrifying. But I did feel, let's see, you do online games if you pre-record them. That is also true. Honestly, in some ways, I would love if we could go back to some pre-recorded content like we once did. I mean, I'd still like to stream, of course, but we just don't have a dedicated editor, and I can't really afford to pay a dedicated editor all the time, you know? Like,
I think that lift was probably used to clean the train cars.
the reason why
To go across.
we're able to kind of resume D&D for the channel is because our editor, or the person who agreed to be our editor, is like, you guys feed me every time I come over and the food's delicious. That's all the payment I need. I'm like, okay. We're offering to pay you more for your hard work, but I do know, you know, paying her for like a specific editing series is one thing. I just don't have the money to like pay her full time to do proper pre-recorded edited videos again. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually seriously considering that maybe what I need to do if I want to tackle Pokemon again is do pre-recorded Pokemon and just not stream that particular game series anymore in order to try to avoid the, not rude, to be clear, not rude, but let's just say overzealous Pokemon community, if you know what I mean.
Maybe it's related to the train.
All right. I'll search the train again.
Because again, I love Pokemon, and I can appreciate its community, but like every community, especially one with a competitive side, people have opinions about how you're supposed to do things, you know? Because I know a good number of people took umbrance with my Pokemon Legends ZA playthrough because I insisted on using a Mothin, because that's Edgelord's favorite Pokemon, and I thought this is the perfect opportunity to use a Mothin. Especially since I'm still struggling to get a 3DS emulator functioning properly.
Something written on the train. I can't make it out through the dust.
Let me try.
It might be related to the code. Spray some more.
What do you mean spray some more? Oh. I see what you're saying. See, I hate competitive Pokemon. No offense, it made it less inclined to tune in. Yeah, no, I get ya. I 100% get ya. Because, yeah, like, I really can't stress enough. By the end of the Scarlet and Violet playthrough, I was not having fun. Like, I was actually pretty miserable by the end of that, but I'm like, I want to finish it. If for no other reason than I made a mistake of kind of making a deal with one of the people who were tuning in. They're like, hey, let me get you this item, but can you help me complete my Pokedex and help me catch these certain Pokemon? Which, at the time, that felt innocuous enough, but no, I would kind of completely regret doing that. Unless you could stretch out the content as opposed to streams, which are like shotgunning the game. You're not wrong. Like, I know that for better or for worse, like, I'm wanting to make sure, I need to make sure I do as much of this game as possible. Because to get the good ending, I need to make sure that I achieve a few certain things. And I don't 100% remember what those are. But when I just played through the game normally, doing as much as I could, I just did all the achievements and I got the best ending. Because I like the good ending of this game, and I want to get it so you guys can see. And unlike, say, Knights of Azure, which is a game I like, but I do not have the patience to get the good ending because it's too repetitive.
I'm detecting a core signal coming from below. I'm thinking we're gonna need to cut through the sewer system.
Okay.
Sewer. I'd like to avoid getting wet.
I don't think that's going to happen, Eve.
The transportation network was built on top of the sewer system. If you don't like it, we can always find another way. What was that sound?
That noise. It isn't normal. Why is that sound?
Yeah, there is some lore behind that.
Tiva shouldn't be able
One,
to activate the
yeah, hold on, I'll say after.
That sound and the negative pattern from the Alpha Core match.
Oh, and it's, Vivilion, not Mothin.
What's happening down there?
We'll have to find out ourselves.
Albeit, don't get me wrong, Edgelord does like Mothin. Edgelord has a thing for just insect Pokemon, period. That kind of has to do with the fact that in their very first life, they had a robotic insect companion that they were given when they were really little. Yes, it's a robot, not a real insect, but it's still endeared insects to them. The other reason is because since Vivilion is a Pokemon that has a fuck ton of different forms, Edgelord kind of relates to it, since, yeah, Vivilions don't reincarnate like Edgelord does, but again, it's something that kind of, they just feel an affinity towards it. That's why it's their favorite. So yeah, that's the lore reason behind why Vivillion's their favorite Pokemon. Plus, I think it's, I mean, and don't get me wrong, some of their other favorite Pokemon include, like, you know, Scorbunny, Lopbunny, just the rabbit Digimon, since Edgelord often does take the form of a rabbit.
I'll hurry.
Lily, I need this communication.
And mostly, I kind of decided that Edgelord does take the form of a rabbit in some lives is because I just think it's really funny.
We've got to focus.
That is literally the only reason why Edgelord takes the form of a rabbit in some life. Yes, I would have to... You know what? Why not? You asked. I'm going to pull up Cerebi and look at the different Vivilion forms, because I don't remember all of them off the top of my head. And you know what? I'm curious now. I want to actually give you a legit answer. Now, admittedly, I might be projecting a little bit on Edgelord in regards to them liking moths, since a lot of my favorite Pokemon give me a better image, you fucking website. Okay, hold on, I need... Okay, here we go. Yes, their favorite pattern is the jungle pattern. Because, let's see, it's a fun, fast Pokemon, but Pokemon are a lot of fun. I agree. But kind of like I was saying, I might be projecting my own love of moths and beetles onto Edgelord, because I love moths. So, I mean, my favorite Pokemon of all time is Volcarona, but I also love Mothin, I love Venomoth, I love Butterfree, I like Pavilion, albeit I usually use other... Remobi is one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, and Remobi is in contest for being my favorite fairy type. I think with only Grimmsnarl really contesting that status. I'm sure there's... Oh, and Tickaton is now one of my favorites. Thanks to the Edgelord stream. I used a Tickaton and had a lot of fun with it. But the reason why the jungle pattern's their favorite is another kind of part of Edgelord's lore. Again, kind of making fun of the whole Edgelord trope. Edgelord doesn't like wearing the color black because, according to Edgelord, the color black causes spiders to develop depression, and that's just not cool. That's why black widows are the most depressed species on the planet, because they're black and their husbands are always dead. That's not okay, that is a joke, but Edgelord 100% believes that, by the way. But kind of part of that is I kind of established that Edgelord, given that their life, they originated in the game Biomutant, which is a very it's a very pretty game if you've never played Biomutant. But a lot of the gear you get are very natural colors, like greens and browns. So the jungle pattern is a dark green and brown, which is Edgelord's preferred color of clothing, is dark green and brown. Yeah, I hope that answered your question satisfyingly, Lime. Right. These things have, like, detachable Cthulhu faces. Oh. Where's the violence? There's the violence. No. Target the other one before it gets a body. Got it. Yeah. What's your favorite Pokemon, Lime Green, if you have one? I know what Val's favorite Pokemon is. They love Gardevoir. And despite what the internet has tried to do to poor Gardevoir, I agree Gardevoir is great. I still personally prefer Gallade a little bit, but that's just because after Bug, fighting's one of my favorite typing. So... Oh, hold on. Oh, nice. That's cool. Sorry, my, just got a notification that my cousin did something on social media, and that was cool. I'm very proud of my cousin. Gardevoir specifically because of the Eldritch Horrors that want to be your best friends. Yeah, no, that lore alone makes them great. Kind of like, I love the lore behind, Hisui and Zorua's. It's edgy as fuck, don't get me wrong, which is why Abby and I are like, Edgelord has to use one. Honestly, I think I go back and forth about whether I prefer Hisuian Zorua or normal Zorua more. But I like Zorua. I just usually don't end up using Zoruas because, well, if I gotta use a dark type Pokemon, I'll often be like, I'd rather use Weavile, I'd rather use... I backtracked hard. I'd rather use Weavile, I'd rather use Greninja, Meowscarada, I mean, I used so many dark Pokemon that last time as Edgelord. Which, by the way, I do also want to say that, I mean, I'm pretty sure this counts as a legendary and not a mythical. Because even though he was DLC, he wasn't, even though he was DLC, he wasn't like an event Pokemon. But, Ogerpon might be my new favorite legendary Pokemon. Just because of how much I like that story DLC with Ogerpon. And it's one of those things that it's like, I would love Ogerpon to show up again in the future, but I'm also okay if Ogerpon doesn't, because it's like Ogerpon is just tied so great into the story. Let's see, I'm a big fan of Pokemon Crystal. Cyndaquil is great. Clava, newer Pokemon like Hydrapple. Heck yeah. To this day, I flip-flop on whether or not I like Totodile / Fraligator more, or Cyndaquil and Typhlosion more. It's because I genuinely like both. And yeah, I would almost always use Totodile back in the day because I just kind of got stuck with the water starters, even if whether I wanted them or not, until I wasn't. Sorry, I have some beef with my older brother. Well, okay, I don't really have beef because this is just childhood. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something that my asshole older brother did when we were kids. So stuff that doesn't really matter, and it's more like, hey, let's bitch about, you know, memories, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I never got to use a Cyndaquil as a kid. Totodile was my starter, but I really like both of them, and I really do go back and forth as to which one I think is better. Or not which one is better, which one I like better. But yeah, basically, when we were kids, my older brother, he got his copy of Pokemon first. So he picked his starter first. Meaning, even though we both liked Charmander, because he got his game first, he got to pick the Charmander. So I couldn't get Charmander because it's like, we got to complete our Pokedexes, so we each got to get different starters. You know, kid logic, if you know what I mean. And as a kid, yeah. And as a kid,
Now let's go downstairs.
I didn't like a Venusaur very much, despite the fact that Venusaur is now my favorite of the original three, but tastes change. So then, and Sunshine didn't get Gen 1's game. Their first Pokemon game was Gold, I'm pretty sure. Whew. Whew. Sorry, just randomly got bad memory twitches. Words. Words. But then when Pokemon Silver and Gold, someone bought me a copy of Crystal in an online auction, and it came with all 3 starters. Hell yeah! I don't know. I had until I restarted. Oh no! Oh well. C'est la vie, I guess. But yeah, then when Silver and Gold came out, I got my copy after after my siblings got their copies of Gold and Silver, so I got to play it much later than them, and once again, the water starter was the only one that wasn't taken, so that was the one. I got stuck with Totodile by default, but in this case I didn't mind because I really liked Totodile. But then when Ruby and Sapphire came out, Sunshine actually got their copy first, and they took Trico, because at that point it was like, no, the plants, grass type belongs to Sunshine, fire types belong to my older brother, and water types were mine, which I didn't mind. I definitely was a bigger fan of Torchic because of the anime, specifically Blaziken. But yeah, so Sunshine got their copy first, got Trico. I got my copy next, and I took Mudkip because, again, mine were the water types. And again, I liked Torchic, I liked Blaziken, but I'm like, hell yeah, Swampert's grass ground type. That's a good typing. Not grass ground type, water ground type. But then when my older brother got their copy absolute last, they're like, hey, could you breed me a Torchic when you get to the whatever? He's like, I'm not picking Torchic. I'm like, but why? You're the fire starter user. It's like, no, fuck that. And he picked Mudkip. But I'm like, dude, what the fuck? I mean, if you'd expressed this sooner, I could have grabbed a Torchic, because again, I liked Torchic. He hated Torchic. But for one and like for two, you've always forced me to use the water starter because we need to complete our decks, if you know what I mean. And then you just go ahead and like, I'm not doing that. And it very much was kind of a fuck you, brother situation, you know, because I'm not actually mad about this, just to be clear. If anything, I'm chuckling about this. But it was kind of your atypical siblings, rules for me, not for... Rules for thee, not for me. Oh. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. I cannot. Oh, nope. That's not going to work either. Crap. Nope. We're fucked. Alright, let's try that again. Okay. This has to go this way. Like, that's just... There we go. No float assembly dynamics. I didn't get my little sister until I was 17. Yeah. I love Stellar Blade. I love this game so much. Like, I find it super entertaining.
Hear that? Sounds like
But
water.
yeah.
It's that path.
But yeah, no, I mean, especially if you have that big of an age gap between you and your siblings, I 100% get not getting that dynamic. Me and my siblings, we were all born within 2 to 3 years of each other, so there very much was a... We all had, like, overlapping interests. Definitely sibling rivalry. Siblings being douchey to other siblings simply because, oh, my older brother was a dick because we couldn't beat him in Smash Brothers. I was a dick to Sunshine because, again, that was my only... I don't know. It was the only person I seemed to be better than, which, ugh. I hate that our culture, especially in America, fosters that culture of you gotta be better than someone else to feel validated or whatever. It's one of those things. I was not a good older sibling to Sunshine, and it is something I do regret. It is something I wish I could get kind of a do-over on, you know? But yeah, I was a dick because I was the one who, like, really, really, really understood how, like, the Chow breeding mechanics worked in Sonic Adventure 2, so I just had, like, the best Chow out of the siblings. But then again, at that point, my older brother did not give a crap about the Chow. Sunshine kind of did, but either way.
Well, it's flooded. Expected as much. Can you get to where the hazard lights are flashing?
More swimming.
So I didn't think there was. I just wanted to check. I don't like the culture norm that siblings are supposed to fight and argue all the time. I agree. It all worked out in the end. No, you're not wrong. At least I think it worked out between me and my siblings, albeit I don't know if my relationship with my dad is ever going to fully heal. And I think, unfortunately, he is too rooted in his Mormon upbringing. And, I mean, not just his Mormon upbringing, but his Mormon upbringing under my piece of shit grandpa. Granted, never tell my dad that his dad was a piece of crap, because he will take your head off because he admired that racist like, I remember Sunshine even said, like, when our grandpa died like a decade ago, Sunshine was like, I can't be upset. It's like, all I can think about isn't that grandpa's dead. It's that, oh, thank God I don't have to listen to grandpa. say all these hateful slurs for gay and trans people, because Sunshine was still closeted at the time because they were still attending BYU. And yeah, BYU is absolutely awful to people of the LGBTQ and especially to trans people. Or not gender non-conforming people. Actually, they're just terrible to anyone who's not Mormon, let's be real. Like, honestly, at that point, I'm like, why do you let people go to BYU who aren't Mormon?
Don't worry. I'm keeping track of our steps.
Actually, do I have skill points to spend? Yeah, I should, at the very least, unlock some of these. Yeah, that would make sense, honestly. Oh no! A moldy rock? Natiba? I mean, that's what it kind of looked like. I mean, okay, it was spitting venom or poison or whatever, but that thing really did look like a moldy rock to me. Ah, damn it. The lock-on mechanic is so finicky, I genuinely just wasn't able to catch that thing before it fused with the body. Nice. Colleges are paid more grant money based on the amount of students enrolled. Also fair.
Other Nativa's going through a change.
I just don't like being... I admit, I don't like being fair to really anything that has to do with the LDS Church right now, simply because of how lying, skeevy, and manipulative they are. And how they're just like, oh, if we just pretend this awful stuff didn't happen, then, well, we're just going to pretend it didn't happen. Stop asking questions. No, there were no massacres. What? We don't talk about how many wives Joseph Smith had, especially the one who was underage. Hold on, I need to heal. Whew! I love the Shockwave Slash. I don't think that's what it's called, but that's just what I'm calling it. Okay, speaking of the Mormon Church, did you know about the entire Lego Mormon Mafia situation with Reckless Ben? Does that have anything to do with, like, the bricks and minifigure thing stealing from, like, an old guy or something like that? I ask because I'm genuinely not 100% sure if I do know what you're talking about. But if it does have to do with that, kind of. I admit I haven't exactly been following that story. Again, if that is indeed what you're talking about. Yes, that's... Okay, yeah, that's kind of what I heard. But no, I haven't really heard about the Mormon Mafia in regards to that, because... Again, I haven't really been following it, because I just don't have the spoons for that, because it's shitty, it's bullshit, and quite frankly, I really hope that guy does get his money back.
I'm always glad to see this.
All right, here we go. Cha-ching! Basically, the entire police force of the city, the store on the store owner's side because they are all Mormons, of course. They've also arrested Ben multiple times and now have a warrant without bail. That's, yeah, that tracks. That tracks completely. You know, again, for a church that's supposed to be all about, you know, spreading the love of Jesus and all that other bullshit, they really encourage the whole, oh, if you're a Mormon, that automatically makes you a good person. And if someone's not a Mormon, that means, oh, don't trust them. They automatically have to be up to something shady because, oh, but because Mormons are the chosen. Hey, Fig, I peel a lot of potatoes, most exhausting thing ever. I'm sorry to hear that, but glad you got it done, at the least. At least I hope you got it done. Let's see. Okay, I'm pretty sure. Wait. There's Saxon somewhere where I live. What about you? Weather, we have had the hottest summer on record where I live, and, well, maybe not on record, but at least the hottest summer in, like, decades, and it is miserable. Especially since there's so many other miserable things happening that's just going to make weather worse around here. And our local government are a bunch of cocksuckers and are just going to make it worse. Reminds me of work and not look forward to the next week with all my college kids back to school starting. Oh, really? Excuse me. Huh. Sorry, I'm yawning and I'm yawning hard. I'm not sleepy, but again, I was just out in the sun a lot today doing the photo shoot, and I was wearing my edgelord outfit, which is layered. Don't get me wrong, a lot of the layering does keep me cool, but some of it doesn't. I work at severely understaffed Panera Bread OGs in a college town, like literally that's the main drive of the town is a gigantic college. That, yeah, where I went to college was a small middle of nowhere town as well. That, quite frankly, if there wasn't for the fact that there was a college in the town, there's no way it would have like the McDonald's it had, the Walmart it had, the Subway, and no way in fucking hell. Because, like, it's been developing a lot in, like, the 15 plus years since I attended college there. At least 15? Is that right? No, maybe 15. Let's see. No, it's not quite 15. Over a decade, though. But yeah, the only reason it's been getting as much development is, again, the college. So, I definitely kind of know what you're talking about.
Some survivors were set up here.
Yep.
From the looks of it, this place has been abandoned for a long time.
Then why do I feel warm?
Well, let's take a look around.
That medicine for sun disease. I found it.
That is exactly this town. This town was there when I was born and when I was a kid. And there was Podunk nowhere. Now it's one of the biggest cities in the state. Nice. Or not nice, depending on how much you like development. Hell, I remember when I was attending college, like, I was so bored a good chunk of the time that I remember, like, some of my roommates, like, what do you mean you walk down to the Walmart just for entertainment? I'm like, because there's literally nothing else to do in town, and unlike you, I'm not constantly pirating movies and TV shows illegally to keep me entertained, because A, I didn't know how to do that for one, and B, I'm not a thief. Goes on in YouTube site. We in Utah, there's Tuacahn, which is like our big, that's like our big theater
What's this?
festival thing.
Called a guitar.
Um,
Instruments ancient people played to try
Is
to
this
attract
a
mates.
water bottle?
well, we used to be known for skiing,
The god
but quite frankly, we had like the worst winter when it came to snow, again, in like a long time, if not in history. So, quite frankly, the ski resorts got royally fucked this winter.
music was an invaluable source of
We used to have the Sundance Film Festival, but that is gone. Shit, fuck. I wouldn't even. And then, I guess we did also have like, hey, no, catch you next time, Val. Glad you could come. Fuck, and the other thing that we all had was like national parks, like Zion's National Park and the Grand Staircase, but unfortunately our fucking governors sold out to asshole President Fuhrer and gutted all of that. And we're still actively protesting that bullshit, but there's no guarantee it's not going to get completely fucked and destroyed, you know? So once again, I mean, it's just once again, our local government is, you know, prioritizing short-term game for them because they're going to get a hefty payout by, you know, selling the whole state out. But we as, you know, the small people, it's like we're going to get fucked because we're now going to lose all of our natural resources and natural appeal of the state. So we're no longer going to get tourist revenue because there's not going to be anything worth seeing here anymore. Sorry, that touched a bit of a nerve. I'm not mad at you. It just, ooh, I'm angry about that. Like, I am so angry about that.
thing to say.
Plus, they're trying to build that fucking data center here. And quite frankly, even though I consider myself a law-abiding citizen, I am really condoning other people absolutely, like, stealing all the copper from that place.
Waiting for the salvation Mother Sphere promised them.
But no.
I want to send the memories
It
of
just,
the
it kind of
Titans.
sucks.
That's where they belong.
I'll help.
Me too, me too.
Thank you, both of you.
Yeah, I haven't been to the library in a while. I probably should rectify that. It's just, I don't know. I struggle with reading. I've always struggled with reading due to like legit reading disorders and reading comprehension issues. But I'm very grateful that there is still a library in our city, and it does actually have... Yeah. I don't know a lot. I know a lot of people don't actually go to libraries anymore, but again, I appreciate that we still have one. I would definitely consider myself neurodivergent. Again, I don't know if I've ever been formally diagnosed, but yeah, I've had too many issues with conventional learning and whatnot for me to not be neurodivergent. Actually, no. I am confirmed to be neurodivergent because I was supposed to have a straight up advocate for me attending school, in order to help accommodate the fact that I do have so many learning problems. But quite frankly, their attitude after a while, it's like, yeah, no, you're an adult, so fuck your learning disability, just get good, asshole. Because that's absolutely what happened to me in college. Hell, I even straight up had, like, my advocate was one of my teachers in college. And even though she flat out knew I had learning disabilities, especially when it came to English in particular, yeah, she basically, like, in the very first essay handed in, it's like, yeah, even though I know what your disability is, and even though I'm supposed to be here to advocate for you, all my notes on your first essay are like, basically stop doing everything that you actually have clinical evidence that you struggle with, because I don't want to have to read your shitty grammar again, or shitty punctuation, or whatever the fuck it was. So I'm like, yeah, get fucked.
What do you say?
All forms of learning are valid as long as you're vibing with it and it's helping you grow. Basically gatekeeping knowledge. I'm like, that's basically what the Catholic Church did in the Dark Ages. And it ends very badly. Crap. Wrong what? Wrong direction. I don't like history as much as I should, if I'm being perfectly honest. Because I'm very much like that you need to learn from history or you are doomed to repeat it. I know that's a cliche turn of phrase, but fuck, it's true. Because, especially here in America, we're doing it right now. It's really fucking frustrating to listen to some of the dumbasses I work with. They basically were making derogatory terms about statements about Germans at work the other day. Basically being like, go back to, you know, whatever, you commies or whatever. But it's like, I'm sorry, but as of right now, America has a lot more in line with Nazi Germany than modern Germany does, assholes. Yeah, and I don't really care what YouTube has to say about that, because... yeah, no, quite frankly, America is, quite frankly, America needs to be torn down a million pegs right now, because, yuck. The church kind of did, but it also helped educate commoners sometimes. Or something. Again, that was great when that's actually what happened, but again, something that I did learn again in some of the Bible studies that I had to do, being LDS. Thinking about it, was mostly a lot of anti-other. So the LDS church pushes the fact that they're the only real church, the only true church in existence. Every other Christian church has fallen from, like, the grace of God or whatever. And one of my teachers, who was actually a historian, to be fair, did kind of say that a big way that the Catholic Church during the Dark Ages stayed in power was by making sure that the populace of like the general population couldn't read, or at the very least the Bible wasn't in English, so the priest could basically, or the church could kind of say whatever they wanted to the, you know, small folks, and they wouldn't have the knowledge to properly rebuke them. So it's what allowed such rampant corruption in the Catholic Church during the Dark Ages. But again, I'm not really trying to say that it's just the Catholic Church who does crap like that. But yeah. I mean, hell, no, I've been living in countries, U.S. Doris territories. Just fun to read about. Yeah, I wish more of my people would read more about it. Yeah.
Hey, over there. It
Over
looks like
there?
This old generator still works.
Sweet.
This is
That
how
was
we
chaotic
operate the
messing
lab.
away. No, you're absolutely right.
Why?
You've never seen movies? This is a classic trope.
I don't know. It's a little up in the air about Eve's knowledge about pop culture. Oh, wait. Sorry, I just saw there's a chest there. Can we go back? Can we go back? Chest? Chest? Yeah, honestly, I have some issues with how romanticized medieval Europe has been, especially in American media, because I'm like, that place was, time period was not great, guys. It's just the idea of swords, knights, and like knights errants are like just, because I'm like, most historically speaking, knights didn't do like honorable knights errants. It was normally like, yeah, the knights were like lords who basically held the fact that they were the only ones with weapons to defend people against the bandits or whatever. Against the small folk. I mean, granted, America's also overly romanticized like samurai culture, so it's not like it's the only thing we've over romanticized. Then again, I just don't like it when we over glamorize a period of history that's not our own, because we then, let's see, country where I grew up is also in a mess right now. Oh, that's, I'm sorry to hear that, man. Because like, I feel like when we romanticize time periods, we only romanticize specific parts of the time period and either completely overlook or just don't care about the other problematic elements of that time period, if you know what I mean. Because it's kind of like how Blake Lively and some other white celebrities were catching flack. Because like, oh, we want to do like a fashion show celebrating the time period of antebellum. I'm like, you mean the time period like right before
Too quiet.
the blacks were freed? I'm like, okay, I get that your argument is, oh, we're only wanting to talk about the fashion, but it's like, but you're romanticizing a period in history of massive inequality. You can try to dress it up all you want, but that's kind of that's kind of a prime example of my issue of only focusing on certain flowery parts of history to put up on a pedestal, if you know what I mean. I thought medieval Europe was unfortunately uniformly portrayed as filthy and dark. That depends. I mean, don't get me wrong, there is plenty of that. And maybe I'm thinking of something else, because I've definitely seen plenty of things that do depict that era as filthy, but I also have seen plenty of things that overly romanticize the knights, if you know what I mean. Then again, I might be coming from a bit of a bias perspective, since I know that in America, at the very least, because America fought for independence from Britain. If you're curious, I grew up in Russia. Okay. I definitely, like, our country was definitely a lot more willing to point out the problems with Europe, especially, like, England in particular, because, again, America fought against them in the Revolutionary War. They'll talk romanticized medieval style world, but it wasn't strictly real Europe. That's fair, and that's something else I also kind of hate. I hate it when people, whether it's in D&D or even in their own fiction, try to bring up, oh, well, it's like, oh, women can't be knights. That's not realistic. Or women can't be treated equal. Or, oh, black people don't exist here. I'm like, fantasy, especially, like, even though Tolkien presented his world as, like, history or whatever, but, like, fantasy is just that. It's fantasy. It can mirror reality. It can have elements of reality. It can be inspired by reality. But if you're going to dip into things and include things like elves and dragons, it's not reality. So all bets are off. It's like, sure, if you still want to have a story where there's racism involved, that's fine. But again, it's something that has to be properly baked into the world itself. And it needs to have an in-universe reason for why there's an inequality, if you know what I mean. It can't just simply be like, oh, well, in the real world, people of a certain whatever couldn't do a whatever, so that means that the people in this completely fictional world can't either, or whatever. Because, like, I remember at that LARP park that I mentioned before. Hold on. People just need to be more honest with their reasons for liking or disliking something. I agree. Because, like, honestly, I know that I definitely got on my high horse about a number of things and tried to spin it as, oh, well, there's a legit reason for it. When in reality, I'm like, no, for better or worse, I was just being not accepting or whatever. Like, I remember when I first found out that, what was his name? Ike from Fire Emblem might be gay. I really pushed back against it, but I tried to, like, justify it for all these reasons why that just didn't make sense. But I just kind of had to realize, like, no, that was my Mormon showing, and I did not want a character I admired to be gay, because that's bad. No, it's not, but...
Yes?
I analyzed the pattern, and the noise translates to... kill me.
Well, we'll find out more once we get to the source of the contamination. I wonder what it means.
If I find something strange or boring, I'll just say I consider it find it strange or boring. Exactly. I think the other problem that people have kind of forgotten is that you can like or dislike something and it can just be like, it's a me thing. Like, a lot of people kind of have forgotten that you can like something that's terrible. Like, because, for example, one of my... Oh... reaction was reasonable, I guess. Because, like, just to kind of go along with what you say, boring. The movie Citizen Kane is often listed as the greatest movie ever made in terms of, like, filmmaking and, like, film techniques, if you know what I mean. And honestly, if you look at it from, like, how films themselves are made, I can actually kind of agree with that. Like, Citizen Kane is a work of art. Problem is, I think the film's boring as fuck. I hated watching that movie. But I'm not also going to say that, like, no, critics were wrong, Citizen Kane is crap. But, because it's like, no, this is my opinion. But, like, again, going back to my crew mates, he was trying to be like, oh, the Fast and the Furious movies used to be so good back when it was just about the cars and it was realistic. I'm like, guy, it was never realistic and they were never good. You just were entertained by them, which is okay. But just a lot of people are like, well, no, I can't like something that's bad, or you can't say something I like is bad, because they interpreted that as like a personal attack on them. If you know what I mean? I like something terrible is easy for me. I like school days in the room. Though some things can't be so bad they're good. And yeah, I like plenty of things that are arguably so bad they're good. And that's like, just as an example, I really liked the movie Supergirl that came out this year. I think it's really good. But I know some people don't really care for it, and honestly, that's fine. But stop acting like, but actually give legit criticisms rather than all these like, oh, it's got problematic messages or whatever. I'm like, no, it really doesn't. If your whole thing was like, it just wasn't my thing, I could at the very least respect you not liking it, but let's see. Supergirl, I saw screenshots. Yeah, no, I really like Supergirl, but I acknowledge it has a lot of problems. But acting like somehow Millie Alcott, or okay, I said her name wrong, but the actress is actually a problem with the movie is just sexist bullshit. Because she is not the problem with the movie. She, I would argue, makes that movie. Any problems it does have are more on a script level. Oh, excuse me.
That was close. That was a tough opponent. Eve, you okay?
Yes, let's continue.
But yeah, I like Supergirl. I've actually pre-ordered the Blu-ray because I'm a physical media guy for life. Yeah, it's a good idea to watch something fully before making conclusions. Yeah, and that's the thing that bugs me. There are so many people nowadays who form these like definitive positions and opinions on things that they haven't even watched themselves. Like, physical media, I love, yeah, because if I own it, they can't take it away from me. Yeah, my house is cluttered as fuck because I have so much physical media, but I don't care. Adam from the channel Your Movie Sucks, he did a extensive video about the Kimba the White Lion controversy in relation to the Lion King, and like a big message, like mission statement of his video was just kind of proving that a lot of the people who like make these videos and hell even like publish books about the controversy have never actually sat and watched Kimba, because he kind of, his point was like, if they had, they would know that some of these popular misconceptions are wrong. But people just as a whole are content to be like, oh, so and so said this, it must be true, and I'm not going to do my own work in watching it. Which I think is valid. I've been meaning to actually sit down and watch some of Kimba myself so I can actually be better informed about this, but yeah, I definitely think just that, what he said is something to really kind of get you thinking, if you know what I mean. Oops. Fuck me over. do 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 do.
A lift route without an actual lift.
What?
Oh, nothing. It just has bad news written all over it.
Whee! I was hoping to
Damn, it's been flooded with water.
get to the Alpha Natiba tonight, but maybe we
Again?
won't. Still, I'm just glad I was able to get a stream in a little, especially since okay, I might be able to stream, do like a short stream next Saturday. There will not be an Edgelord stream next Saturday though. But I absolutely will not be able to stream like the following, like, again, I have a fuck ton of obligations just for the rest of, like, a lot of the other weekends going forward. Things should start normalizing a bit more in September. Like, I'm really hoping to find time to stream more for Azure Twilight. Because, man, I want to beat that game for her. She's such a wonderful friend of the channel.
There are 3 gates, and a bunch of other things.
Hello, little bot. I'm afraid you must go boom now. Boom, 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 boom. I want you in my room. Let's spend the night together from now until forever. Oops. Oop, wrong thing. Open, please. Door, open. Crate, please. Surprise, motherfucker. Oh shit, surprise, motherfucker indeed.
I guess it just makes me think back to when I was born. Aren't the waters here on Earth usually contaminated?
Well, it isn't great for our bodies. Just the thought of cleaning this drone is making me dizzy. Just forget about the broken door for now.
Okay, I just kind of wanted to confirm that I couldn't go through there.
Got it.
Okay, good to
Now let's
know.
go.
Don't 100% remember where I need to use that.
How about we look around a little more? Just a little.
I mean, what's the point?
For this kind of work, a thorough search is the bare minimum.
Wait, I'm in combat? I missed this? My bad. Don't know if that did anything for me. Ah, okay.
It was a waste of time.
Waste? Can't say it was entirely useless, though.
I don't care about that. I just want a bath.
Okay. So yeah, that's about 2 hours of streaming. And yeah, I've had a long day. Had fun streaming. I had a very fun today. That's not really me complaining, but I am just saying I am going to end the stream here because I think I now just need to unwind for the last couple hours of the day and just, yeah. I'm still planning on streaming Edgelord in the morning. But yeah, I'm not sure when, but I'll see you guys then. Bye-bye.